Okay, I feel weird. That's better. Here, it's in my way. Here. Anyway, I want to talk about plagiarism today, and I want to explain why people plagiarize people work, um, and also is it sometimes when people accuse people of plagiarism, it's always plagiarism. Now, first, let's talk about what plagiarism is and why people plagiarize people's work. Um, People who plagiarize people's work, they're people who really this is about plagiarism in the spiritual community, by the way, because there's some spiritual teachers that teach similar things, and then there are spiritual teachers that get accused of stealing people's work that did not steal people's work. People don't understand so much about um, why it seemed like people steal people's stuff. But people who plagiarize people's work, they're people who they want it all or nothing at all. It's the all or nothing at all mentality. And these people are people who probably grew up in feeling like they're losing some. Losing some means that they're losing all. Their parents probably were the type of parents that showed more love to the other sibling and not them, and or maybe they perceived it that way because at some point they believe that maybe the parent was giving something to the other sibling or the other siblings that they're not giving to them, or something is or a gift is being given that is not being given with love. And so they develop this I want it all or nothing at all mentality, because when people when people want it all or nothing at all, it's because they believe that, you know, there's not enough to go around. I have to have it all for myself. You know, if I don't have it all for myself, I don't have anything. Because if love was given, more love was given to one person and not me, then all of that love is given to the child, the other child, or the other sibling. And even though maybe that wasn't the case, maybe the child does perceive it that way. Still, whether you perceive it that way or it was actually that way, it still creates the same kind of a trauma. So that's one root issue. The other thing is it's also about people who they don't trust. I should have wrote this down. I write that one down. It's a lack of self-trust. When if like it's two people are in the same field, and the one person plagiarizes other person's work because they didn't trust their own work, or they don't believe in their own work, and they wanted it there's some envy there. I want I want this person's work because my work isn't as good as theirs, so I have to take their stuff to um, so because their work have more power than my work. And it goes back again to the I want it all or nothing at all, because if I have their work, I have their work and I have mine work. So, it's I want it all. I want it all for myself. Um But the thing about it is, people do plagiarize people work, but there's something else at work here. Like if it's true that great minds think alike, how do we know for sure that every time that somebody accused somebody of plagiarizing somebody's work, that was actually the case? How do we know that two or more people can't come up with the same invention? We can't actually prove that. We can't prove that two people can't come up with the same invention. Okay? Because in this universe, anything is possible. And the universe is like, your mind is so like infinite or whatever. So there's no way to prove that two people can't come up with the same work. However, in this life right now, it's highly unlikely that two people will come up with the same work when it comes to certain like things, like certain industries. Like when it comes to like music. If we're talking about music, it's gonna be highly unlikely that you have two rappers that write the same exact song and compose the production the same exact way and the same lyrics and the same melody and the same beat and the same rhythm. Because this when you talk about something like music, it's so layered. There's so many things that goes into one song. So it's highly unlikely that um, you're gonna find two people that come up with the same song. And also with like invention of like a certain product. Maybe in this case it could be similar, but I doubt that two people would come up with the same exact product, even though it can be similar. Um, what about things like jokes and slangs and catchphrases? I've seen cases where um, I had this idea in my head for like maybe because I used to write jokes. I think in my last live stream I said that I used to write jokes. And later on down the line I saw certain comedians with very similar joke. I wouldn't say it's the exact same, but it's very similar. So it depends on what we're talking about. Certain things, um, there's certain things as far as um, ideas people could come up with that is very similar. When it comes to something like a slang, like a slang or a catchphrase, I think two or more people come up with the same thing without knowing that the other one came up with it. And the thing about all of this is when it comes to stuff like that, no matter people don't understand that that's possible. And then you're gonna have one person accusing this other person of plagiarism, and it probably wasn't even plagiarism. Okay, it's just so happened that when it comes to ideas, when it comes to the ideas and like concepts, there's certain people could come up with the same concept and like jokes, people come up with similar jokes, people could come up with similar catchphrases. Now, when it comes to the field of philosophy and thought and truth and like universal truth and stuff like that, I found that this field is like the one field or one of the like one of the fields that maybe the only field in this lifetime now that two or more people could come up with the same idea. And it's because, you know, two or more people, we're dealing with the the realm of truth here. The probability of two or more people coming up with the same stuff and the same work is very much higher in when it comes to the spirituality and the field of ideas and the field of truth. Everything, because everything in the universe is energy. Everything from physical world, everything that is physical, your thoughts, concepts, memory, is all about energy. And everything exists on the thought realm. So all of these energies are thoughts that exist on the thought, whether it's a thought as in the thought as in thinking, or it's an object. Because this thing right here, this computer mouse, it's a computer mouse, but at the same time, it's a thought because it's a thought that exists in my mind. When I see this thing, I see it as a physical thing, but it exists as a thought in my mind because I'm perceiving it in my mind. That means it exists as a thought there. So all of these things on the thought realm it exists um, inside and outside of ourselves. It's this it's just a higher dimension. It's a less dense reality than this one. And whatever exists. Every thought, every concept, every memory, every idea, everything that is physical, every perception and the perception of people exists on the thought realm, right? So our collective thoughts, all our collective thoughts, is existing on the thought realm as it is. So we are interacting, and all of us are interacting with each other's thoughts. Okay, so our thoughts are not going to always be original to us. Okay, it's all about um, what how how highly transcendent you are as far as the level of consciousness that you hold. And some people came into this life with a less what should I say, a more sensitive system that is more able of um, of receiving information. Okay, so it's almost like some people came with a more with, people come with a more or a less open channel to receive information, and we're all receiving those information. And because some people are more open to this information, are more sensitive to it, these are the people that become spiritual teachers. And so we all have access to this information, but some people download this information easier than others because they have a more sensitive system that is open and an open channel to receive knowledge. And these are the people who usually become the spiritual teachers. These are the people who usually become the geniuses. These are the people who usually become the gurus or whatever, or philosopher. And the more transcendent this philosopher is, the more the higher the knowledge is. They're going to receive even higher knowledge from a higher dimension, which is still the thought realm. Okay? So when it comes to this field, the field of truth, the field of universal truth, philosophy, spirituality, um, what else am I leaving out? Thought, you know, or whatever, original thought, or so they call it. This you cannot speak of truth and say that somehow, first of all, different individuals are going to perceive the same truth differently, but in some way the truth will be the same because it's the truth. When you speak of truth, the truth will always be similar. So if you have different spiritual teachers who come into this life with a similar intention to teach similar things, then the truth that they're downloading is going to be similar on many different levels. It's going to differ because even though the spiritual teacher is even though they're similar teachers and they teach similar things, there's different things that happen in their life and in their intention and their purpose for this life that's going to make the information that they're putting out there differ in many different ways, because no two people have the same exact perception, and no two people have the same exact life experiences. But at the same time, two people or more or two or more people are going to have similar teachings and sometimes the same exact teaching, because even though their lives are different, we all share the same experiences when it comes to certain experiences. Like we all live in this one life, on the same planet. We're sharing the same space, so our lives are going to be similar in some ways. So and it's going to differ in other ways. So when it comes to the realm of truth here and teaching spirituality, um, you can't tell me that you're teaching me the truth, but at the same time, if something is true, if it's true that I always like to say, well, if it's true that the sky is blue, it's going to be true for all of us. We're all going to share that same reality that the sky is blue. Okay, the sky is not only blue for one person that has the idea that the sky is blue. So if somebody come and tell you that, oh, it is my idea that the sky is blue, and if anybody else come up with that idea, then they plagiarize my work, and that person is bullshitting because the sky is not only blue for you, it's blue for all of us. So because it's true. Remember, we're dealing with truth here. When you're dealing with the realm of truth, things are going to be similar. The truth will be similar because it's true. So if you have a bunch of spiritual teachers teaching a bunch of vastly different things on the same topic, somebody has to be lying about something. Somebody just made up shit and pulled shit out of their ass to teach you something so they could be different. But when we're sharing the same space and we're dealing with the same topics, things are going to be similar. It's going to differ in certain ways, but it's also going to be similar. Now, people like to complain about teachers contradicting themselves, or a spiritual teacher contradicting him or herself, or his or herself. And so when it comes to teachers being similar and teaching the same thing, some of these very people, they probably would complain that some teacher stole this work from this teacher, which means these people don't know what they want. You want people to not contradict each other, but at the same time, you're mad when they don't contradict each other. You're saying that they plagiarize each other's work. I mean, what do you want? Do you want um, things to be all the way different? Then you complain of how people are contradicting each other and this teaching contradict this other teacher's teaching. The fact that some teachers are similar, it means that this is a good thing, because it's a good way for you to validate and to confirm that what you're saying is true or probably true, because more than one person is saying the same thing. Okay, if we're all sharing this reality and we're all seeing things the same way, then things are going to be similar. Okay. Um, Teachers accusing other teachers of plagiarism. A lot of the times, it's not plagiarism, and a lot of the times, these teachers who are accusing people, these people are they're living in deep ego consciousness. They have a serious God complex because the knowledge that is out here is available to everyone. So to say that you're the only one that could teach certain things, or you're the only one that could come up with certain things when it comes to the realm of truth, is to say that all of the knowledge that is out there in the universe is available to only you, which is to say that you are God. Okay? So these people, they have a God complex. And they these are some of the very people who teaches how the you should transcend the ego, and the ego, you should get rid of the ego, and you should overcome your ego. But this is the most egotistical shit, I mean, you could indulge in. This is like the apex of narcissism, to say um, people are always accusing people of stealing their work. These people, they suffer from, this God complex. And we all want to believe that we came up with shit ourselves. But this is not how the universe works. Okay? This knowledge that we teach, it's everywhere. So anybody could teach these things. It's just that because we've been introduced to a false reality, and everything is a lie in this life. Only some of us um, are recognizing the truth for what it is, and only some of us came into this life with a body and a system that is so as an open channel to receive knowledge, which we all came into this life that way. It's just some of us are more that way than others. So some people find it easier to teach um, certain things than other people. um, this being said, all the every knowledge, every thought that people think throughout history and throughout our life exists in the thought realm. So everything that we think exists out there in the thought realm, and everything that exists physically exists in the thought realm. Okay, so there's no information that exists that is original to anyone. Okay, this knowledge is not original to any one person. So there's no teacher out here that is teaching anything and that has taught anything that taught anything new or anything original. Um, so when we speak of plagiarism, a lot of the times, a lot of the times, it's not really always all the way true and all the way valid, because we could say that because we're downloading this information, even our thoughts are are not necessarily original to us. We all are thinking similar thoughts. To say that somebody's plagiarizing, you know, forget about that. Just because all of this is so, we could say that we're all plagiarizing the universe. We're all plagiarizing stuff that exists on the thought realm, right? When it comes to the field of truth, when it comes to the field of spirituality and universal truth, the claims of plagiarism sometimes stands on very shaky ground, because there's no way to prove that somebody who teaches something um, similar to you definitely did steal from you. Now, people do steal people's work. People steal people's work in the music industry, in art, in writing, in in whatever. And people also teach people. Other teachers do steal other teachers' work. Okay, it all depends on if somebody is deliberately taking your stuff that you're saying and calling it theirs. Okay. Now, if I hear something great from a spiritual teacher that I think might work, that is good for my content and or good for the people that I teach and the people that I coach, I would use that knowledge or that understanding or that insight because it will help my clients. But if I know that that's the source that I got it from, then it's to me it's a tactful thing to do is to give that person credit for um for what I got from them. But if I didn't get something from you, if I'm teaching something similar to you and I didn't get it from you, um it just so happened that we teach similar things. But I'm not going to give you credit for it if I didn't get it from you. If I got it from my higher self, I got it from my sense of connection to whatever I'm channeling from the universe, from my spirit guides, from whatever. Then I'm going to speak from that space, and I can't give you. I wouldn't give somebody credit for something that I didn't get from them. So people do steal people's spiritual teachings. People do steal people's insights. But at the same time, because you will know somebody steal your stuff based on the way they deliver it, you know. And there's a bunch of different factors that could make you see definitely that this person stole my work. But for the most part, when certain teachings are similar, there's no way to prove that this person actually got this knowledge from you, and they actually then they didn't get it from themselves or from the same realm and the same plane that you're getting your knowledge from. Okay, because if this knowledge is available to all of us at all times, so it's not your knowledge, it belongs to the universe, and we are the universe, so it's all of our knowledge. So yeah, people who, oh shit. Yeah, so people do steal people's work, but in the field of truth, when it comes to the field of truth, for the most part, plagiarism does not really exist. And when you hear some teachers and gurus and scholars and anybody in that realm, accusing other, especially those who are constantly accusing people of stealing their work, these people they have a god complex, and or not and they don't understand um how the universe works. Okay, there's nothing new under the sun. Nothing here exists that um didn't always exist, or there's nothing or thought, there's no really original thought, because everything that is thought is being everything that is exists as thought exists in your mind, and it exists in the thought realm, and the thought realm is available to all people at all times. um, and you can't really accusing people of plagiarism. It's you're saying that you're God a lot of the times, because people do teach steal people's work, but sometimes it's not plagiarism. Anyway, I gotta go.